Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to another recording of Hearthstone. Today is Wednesday, September 18th. We are on my European account and the solo adventure for Tombs of Terror, I believe is the name of it, is out. So let's see. We have a daily quest here that is almost completely done. We have win 2 with the mage and win 2 of any class. So we'll win a game with a druid or rogue. I think this might be a good opportunity to play the single player expansion on the European account. So I'm gonna just skip the text and I'll give you the Cliff's Notes version of this. Just shut up. Stop talking. Alright.
This city was missing for generations.
So you effectively have to click the unlock button to go back a page to click forward. So all I need to do is get to the 5th boss and I'll get 3 packs. The big change here is each boss is a Plague Lord. So this guy will have 300 health. But if I get him down to like 150 health, then the second run he'll only have 150 health. So that's interesting. Otherwise we still have anomaly mode.
We've all trained for this. The 4 of us are more powerful and flexible than ever before.
The only thing I could do is I could go back here and I could unlock this right now and just unlock this chapter for 700 gold, since I'm gonna do that anyways. And then that opens up a choice here that I didn't make the first time, but we'll try it the second time. So this time, instead of starting with the mage rogue, I'm gonna start with the paladin shaman. Now there's only 4 characters, and the way this is unlocked, it seems like after week 3 you get the best character possible to play as. There are 9 hero classes. If each of these characters is using 2, then there is 1 hero class, I suspect the warrior, that won't be included. So this one's gonna have a twist. Every chapter has a twist, and so the game will add a bunch of murlocs to your deck. There are special spell cards that summon a bunch of murlocs. Our goals are to defeat 5 bosses to unlock this card, defeat the damage the Plague Lord by 50 to unlock this card, defeat the Plague Lord once, or any Plague Lord once to unlock this card, defeat 2 of them to get that card, and defeat 3 of them to get that card. So you know you're going to have to defeat 12 Plague Lords. There's probably only 5 in the entirety of the game, so you're going to have to play the game at least a couple of times. Starting here, all we can do is give friendly minions +2 health, and then shuffle this back into our card. These are artifacts, or signature treasures, or spells, or whatever. I don't know if they gave them a specific description. So if that grinding seemed like too much, don't worry, there will be a lot more grinding, because if you want to unlock this, you have to summon 1 health minions 50 times and overload the crystals 50 times to unlock this hero ability. Otherwise you're stuck with that hero ability.
As I learn more about our foes.
And then if that's not enough grinding, then you need to defeat 8 bosses to unlock this starting deck with these cards. You need to defeat 16 bosses, which would be 2 full playthroughs, to unlock this deck with just this hero. There's the exact same or very similar types of grinding you have to do for each of the heroes. And then if you defeat 24 bosses, you can play the random deck, which is just random cards, which isn't much of a prize, quite frankly. So we're going to start with this, which is
fight our way to those dastardly Plague Lords.
So this is mostly Murlocs. So we're going to be playing Murlocs versus Murlocs, which is fine because that's probably an easy enough way to win. That being said, if we beat one level here and it doesn't count towards victories, or it doesn't count towards any of the quests, I'm gonna waste a lot of time doing this for no reason. So I might jump out after a while if it turns out like this is not how to get 2 victories, or this is not how to get play minions that cost two less. Meanwhile, we still got plenty of news, so let's start talking about the news. I really didn't curate the games I'm looking at today. I probably could.
This plague chap we're hunting, he's a Murloc.
These are gonna talk
Don't
quite a
try to
bit.
negotiate with it, Finley. Tea time's over.
Here we have a game on Steam called Blackbeard and the Cursed Jungle. It looks like it might be an actual effort to make something like a Super Mario Bros. Game that isn't just a low effort experience. Now, the thing I could say here is it seems like you're swinging your sword against these enemies, of which there's very few, quite a bit, instead of the fast-paced Mario jump on their head. See you're slashing, and it's taking a really long time. So there are definitely some caveats and concerns from what I'm seeing here. Visually though, it's appealing, perhaps zoomed in a little bit too much compared to Super Mario Brothers, but I'll put this on the follow list. They want 79 cents discounted, English only, so probably isn't very long, and there's a decent chance that it is not actually that good. Now these heroes start off with 10 health and you start off with 15, and they slowly by the 4th battle have more health than you, and you'll stop getting health at about 30. Let's see. Do this.
Reporting for duty.
And do this. And hit that. Play control. Let's see. Next we have a game on Steam called Mahjong Dimension 3D Fantasy Anime. I don't see anything here that actually looks like Mahjong or Mahjong Solitaire. I guess if you were to take the 2D tiles and make a 3D cube, you could call this a 3D Mahjong game, but you can see here this is either a licensed or stolen anime artwork in the background that does not help one bit in actually playing the game or looking at the 3D images. It's just a distraction, quite frankly, and the game is super simplistic and uninteresting. It's $1.49 discounted, English only. Yeah, this is not the kind of game you should buy. Also, if you name your game Mahjong Dimensions 3D and then you name the developer and the publisher that same name, that does not sound particularly professional to me. Alright.
To battle! To battle!
I'm probably overplaying here. I could almost certainly win. So that's one of the spell cards. They just summon a random number of spells of Murlocs. Okay. 1 durability on this. I couldn't play this. 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 And this.
To battle!
And attack. TechRaptor has an article here. Devil's Hunt review. The devil definitely cries. Let's see. Scroll down to the bottom and see what review score they give it. I have not heard anything about this game, The Devil's Hunt, so I don't know if it's an old game or if it's just a really independent game. It was a PC game on Steam, copy provided by the publisher. If they gave it a 2.0 terrible, Devil's Hunt is absolutely awful, a barely functional, extremely boring, completely nonsensical character action game. Pros, Desmond's voice sometimes speeds to 5 times. Cons, complete nonsense story. Chapter 10 is missing. Boring action. Lame enemies. Bosses are terrible. Tons of dead air. And glitchy. Why would you provide a code to people if that's the level of quality that you were gonna provide? I guess maybe that's why I haven't heard anybody else talk about this game or review it. I don't have such little faith in TechRaptor that they would give something a 2.0 just because they didn't. Some indie dev gave them a free copy but didn't bribe them enough. Whereas, frankly, I think IGN or some of the other mainstream video game people would potentially give lower scores based on whether or not they bought advertising on their website. That took way too long. I took way too long to defeat this first boss. Gamasutra has an article here. Devs, how do people find your games on Switch? I'm not sure if this really is an article as much as this is a request for more information from Gamasutra. It does somewhat bring out interesting questions, sure, though. Like, if you are just putting something on the eShop, does that see, passive, after you draw a spell, reduces cost to 0 this turn. Would be somewhat useful. Let's see, after you play a legendary minion, summon a copy of it. I probably won't have too many legendaries. Enemy minions have -1 attack. Since most are going to be Murlocs, this is probably the best one to do. I don't think I'm going to have too many spells.
Now to flesh out my strategy. Paladin by trade, shaman by nature.
Let's see. These are spells. These are big taunt creatures for late game. These are divine shields. Let's see. Elementals last turn, elementals last turn, spells. I'm gonna take divine shields.
Are these foes getting stronger? Great.
Moving on, we have a game on Steam called Voidified, which seems like a placement strategy game, probably a mobile game.
I dare say this will get
Early access, discounted to $6.20, English, alleged full audio. I don't see anything here that would interest me. Frankly, when I just see these graphics, this doesn't make me want to play this game on Steam. Like, if I had seen these graphics and it was a mobile game and it was free to play with ads or something, I'd be alright with giving this a try, maybe. Although there's not a lot here that looks that interesting. The actual gameplay mechanics feels like it's super simplistic. So, yeah. I'm not intrigued by this thought. So that's not going to the follow list. see. This next one's tagged nudity. Let me just make sure all of the screenshots are YouTube friendly. Seems like it. Next we have a game called 776-2 Dwarven Greed. This seems to me to be a low effort asset flip game. It seems like maybe it's a gambling simulator, but I don't even know what this is. It's some kind of machine that like pretends like it's rolling dice and you're playing against somebody else. Almost like a slot machine, but not really. It says it has nudity in it. It's free to play with a soundtrack that's free to play. It's English and Russian, so I have to put this down to a Russian troll game.
Reporting for duty.
Yeah, so that's definitely not making it to the follow list. Oh, I can just run riot on these characters. If they only have one attack, they're now 0. Gamatsu has an article here for the PS4 and Switch. BQM Block Quest Maker Complete Edition has a trailer from Tokyo Game Show. This looks like a Minecraft clone. Apparently, is Minecraft on the Switch? I'm fairly certain there's at least one version of Minecraft on the Switch. Maybe not the best Java version. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case, yeah. So,
The battle.
this, and then this,
The battle.
and then this, this,
Job's done.
and then in the turn. Speaking of Minecraft, Mojang is hiring in Stockholm for a Java game developer. Unfortunately, that means they're still going to be developing the original Java edition, which I think you have to. I think you kind of have to. You can't ever just abandon it and say, alright, we're going to the other version. Because the only way you have that happen is if you stop adding elements for the Java edition and just go dead silent for a very long time. Oh, it would have been interesting to see if these guys actually attacked. I wasn't paying attention. I bet they did.
Job's done.
I would not want to be a Java programmer above practically any other like industry standard programming language out there. I would much prefer to deep into the depths of assembly language before being a Java programmer.
The battle. The battle.
But I think a lot of that might be just because Java was a class-based programming language, C++ was a functional-based programming language. Honestly, everything is potentially a class-based programming language, and nowadays, and the debate about whether that was a good move or a bad move, I think, could still be raging on even now.
The battle.
Let's take that victory. I figured it was important to point out the Famitsu review scores this week for considering Tokyo Game Show was going on. So while people were hearing a lot of news about Tokyo Game Show, they put out some scores for Atelier Rise. They gave it a 34 out of 40. Cardfight Vanguard 31. Contra Rogue Corps 32. Gunvolt Chronicles 32, Monochrome Order 29, Ninja Box 31, Solo Islands 28, Tropico 6 33, Worms Weapons of Mass Destruction, or Worms of Mass Destruction, I think is what that actually stands for, is 28. And then Yee's 9 Monstrum Nox is 35 of 40. So the big one to take from that is Atelier Rise and Yee's 9, because those are big ticket Japanese games that have been reviewed by Famitsu, which is notoriously the most difficult review site because they have 4 people reviewing it out of 10. So getting a perfect 40 on Famitsu has only been done, I think, 3 or 4 times. Let's see. What do I want? Cast a spell on his neighbors. I think I'm just gonna stick with Divine Shield. I'll just keep going down that route. So, 2 Japanese games came out this week amongst Borderlands, but almost certainly different audience there too. The people that are going to play both Borderlands 3 and Atelier Rise or Yee's 9 are so few that they probably are also the same people that can afford to buy both games out of pocket. What is his hero ability, by the way? I didn't look at it. I think this is probably a special guy. Steal a card from your opponent's deck and put it into your hand. Okay, that's what he's doing. It's not a big deal.
Job's done.
This guy is great whenever you summon a minion +1 attack. So he's just gonna try and steal all my cards.
That one? Okay.
Gamatsu has another article for Nippon Ichi Software, or NIS, launches a new countdown title website. This frankly could be any game that NIS has put out, or it could be a completely different experience, or a completely different game. Just keep going forward on this.
That one? Okay.
When you have a character like this, you pretty much just win the game. Even if he kills me, I've got enough damage elsewise. So that is the beginning of the traditional long series of teases that happen for games in Japan. Right. Might as well play this.
Glory to the Sindora.
And take the victory. I don't think I'm actually doing anything to get the Tavern Brawl done. Like, I don't think I'm getting any of my daily, not the Tavern Brawl, but the daily quest done. So here's the Hearthstone. This is the best one to use. Yeah, you really can't beat the Hearthstone. And then if I can make sure that the Hearthstone always is in my hand at the beginning of a game, that would be very helpful too.
How delightful! A friendly place to mingle and adjust my minions.
Well, see, I'm potentially making a huge mistake here. Let's just take a break here. I've made 0 progress as far as winning with a druid or rogue, which is not the hero class of either of what I've played. I've made 0 progress with playing minions that cost 2 or less, which I've definitely played 6 minions that cost 2 or less. And I've made 0 progress as far as winning 2 games of any class. So the solo adventure, not useful at all for doing any of the daily quests. So I will stick with this until I die, but I'm not particularly pleased. And that's why these don't get done on my European and Asian account too often, is because they devalue playing single player so much. Moving on, we have a game on. We have a story on Gamatsu. For the Switch, Story of Seasons, Friends of Mineral Town screenshots, secret marriage candidates. So this is some kind of Switch game. Looks like a Stardew Valley style game. It probably will come to the West.
What exactly is going on in this desert?
So, had to turn on my light. I kicked the button on the wireless outlet receiver. Choose a new minion, add it to your deck. Having the Lich King be very nice. Or we could repeat all the battle cry cards you've played throughout the game. Targets are chosen randomly. I think the Lich King is better than anything else. Discover a weapon from any class, add it to your deck, give it +2/+2. Choose a friendly minion, remove it. I don't see a real great reason to do that ever. So, 2 gold. Do I want to discover a spell?
You
It
can
always
catch a lot
starts.
of good tips if you know who to listen to.
Okay. So, at the beginning of the game, I'm always going to start with this spell. That's not
Now, thanks for your
super
patronage.
useful, but
it means a lot.
it's good enough. Sorry, I turned away from my microphone, moving that outlet receiver. Okay. Adds a random lackey to your hand. Let's play. And let's continue to work through the news. We still have a decent amount. There were several games that came out for Xbox Live, and this kind of just consistently catches my attention.
Unpleasant.
Are you my enemy or lunch?
So this is always going to start. We could re-roll it, and I think we're pretty good anyway, so we'll just leave this where it is. So one of the Xbox games that came out is As Divine Chimera. It caught my eye. I'm just gonna mention these, and maybe I will leave them if they still look interesting. So I have the Hearthstone now. So this is at the start of the game. You draw this card, always, and you can escape the tavern and go back. So if you're about to lose, you can play this card. So this is the ultimate backup in solo adventure, but does not exist in any other way. And it would be cheesy, certainly. It would be very annoying if somebody was playing you against ranked and they played the Hearthstone as soon as they were about to lose. I think everybody would do that if they could. The danger here is to accidentally think this is a coin, and now that this is in the hand and it costs 0 mana, you will never get the rope because you're playing a solo adventure, and you'll never get the green outline because there's always going to be a card you can play. So danger of sitting here and just not doing anything if I get distracted. Let's see. I'm gonna play Redemption.
The battle.
This will be interesting to see if this one would summon 2 copies now. Because if I bring him back to life, and his reborn effect activates, there should be 2 copies, maybe even 4. The next game coming out on Xbox Live is called The Adventures of Elena Temple, which does not look interesting at all to me. And certainly they're not giving you much details about the games or anything. I think, like, you could click an image and maybe get more of a description and some screenshots. But, yeah, the website's not very helpful. Divine Shield.
The battle!
In a turn.
Nobody loots these ruins but me.
So, here's the link for As Defined Chimera. Looks like it's a JRPG game. Yeah. Honestly, I never put JRPG games on the fall list anyway, so skipping this is pretty easy. Alright.
I say.
We can do this. This.
The battle!
That. And that. And that. And we're about to win. Next game we have on Steam is called Real Fishing Road Trip, which I'm always trying to find a good looking fishing game. Although this feels like this might be more of a JRPG / fishing game. Yeah, I'm not sure if this is an actual fishing game where you simulate fishing, or if this is more of a strategy game where you buy specific rods and baits and just the fishing element is supplemental.
Quite the pickle.
Or I'm really not sure if this is some weird asset flip game. It's intriguing though, because it seems like you're also cooking the fish, you're having conversations, you're dealing with people. So I'm gonna put this on the fall list. $29.99, a little expensive, English and Japanese. The thing though is, when you get into sports games, particularly niche sports games like fishing, it does seem to have a higher cost. So we'll see what the reviews say, if anybody ever buys this game and reviews it. I guess that's a big part of the question. It's from a developer that hasn't put anything else on Steam, but the publisher is Natsumi, and Natsumi has published Harvest Moon, Light of Hope, Complete Your Set, and Wild Guns Reloaded. So there's a couple of games there. I think Wild Guns Reloaded is on my wish list, but it is also kind of a remaster of an older game. So choose a minion whenever it attacks, draw a card. That could be slightly dangerous to draw cards. Reduce the cost. Secret. Reborn. I'm gonna take Reborn cards, I guess. Move on. These enemies are somewhat randomized, so I definitely haven't seen all of them. But that's true for previous solo expansions too, is that I really haven't spent a lot of effort to see every single kind of boss. Some of them are particularly rare, it seems.
Go down a dark path, but so do you.
And then I think last game that came out was for the Xbox Live, Scheming Through the Zombie Apocalypse: The Beginning. I'm fairly certain this is on Steam, and I decided against putting it on the follow list, or it's on the follow list but only because I'm trying to see if the sequels ever come out. So this is not a finished product, and yeah, we are far beyond that point where you couldn't get away with putting a unfinished partial game on Xbox Live, unfortunately. Jim Sterling did a particular video talking about how Microsoft, in his opinion, had really hurt the game industry by embracing low quality games and microtransactions more than any other publisher in this last generation. I think some of what he said was probably valid, but also it seems kind of like it was an out of left field attack apropos of what seems like nothing. But whatever.
This one does not deserve the power it wields.
Let's see. Next we have a game on Steam called Devil's Deck, which looks like a card deck building game where the cards can be upgraded. I'm always looking to see if a card game succeeds. I doubt this would be the one to succeed. It's early access, $13.99. It's English and traditional Chinese. I'll put it on the follow list. But yeah, I don't think that this is going to succeed. It'll be interesting when we start looking at the wish list, follow list cleanup next time, because that's going to be a lot of games that are going to need to be cleaned up and considered and or removed. Speaking of the Steam wishlist cleanup, I forgot I had already scheduled that to happen in November. So there is a third series that will be airing on my channel in November, to my own surprise. Let's see. This, and go ahead and kill that. Probably should have killed that first. In return.
Your presence offends me.
Astral Chain apparently was rather successful and reviewed well. Of course, being a more anime-looking game, it is going to be completely ignored and has been completely ignored by pretty much everybody in the West as far as reviews go. That did not activate that card. Interesting. But whatever. Alright, well, let's do this.
Your presence offends me.
And that. Attack this and that, and then in return. But that wasn't the reason why I wanted to mention Platinum Games, really. The real reason is because Platinum Games congratulated one of its board members, the director, who now holds a Guinness's World Record, Hideki Kamiya. He scored 158,680 points in Arcade Archives Ninja Kid Caravan mode. So Yeah, he apparently he played Arcade Archives and scored a high score, and Twin Galaxy / Genesis gave him an award for it. It's an awkward thing, to say the least, to have a video game person, a board member of the video game, of a video game developer, winning awards for being good at playing video games. It's nice to see, though, because often the accusation is thrown out there, whether fairly or not, that at least the video game journalists don't know how to play video games. I think the accusation sometimes is even thrown out that the game developers don't play video games that much. To see somebody actually win the world record and compete is basically unprecedented. If anything, it should happen all the time. Like, it totally does make sense that it should happen all the time, that game developers either could or choose and just don't choose to win world records in their own games, or they're, for one reason or another, not allowed to not allowed to compete. And alright, how do we want to deal with this? I'm gonna go ahead and kill this, hit this, and see if it summons two things. Didn't do anything. Okay. Oops. Moving on, we have AI, the Somnium Files come out. This was a weird, like, murder mystery, psycho, from the looks of the video, visual novel. It's going with 3D models, and so this is a bigger title. It's M+, from Spike Chunsoft. No nudity, no sexual content, though. See, bundled with a game called Reveries in the Rain, which is some bit of DLC. $53.99. English and Japanese full audio, so full audio here too. I think this being called just a visual novel probably isn't as accurate a description. So again, Borderlands 3 is out. Japanese developers not really afraid to put out their games at the same time, because there's such little overlap of the audience. Maybe it's just me. So yeah, I'll put this, I guess, on the wish list. We might as well just do it. This would probably be an interesting game to cover next October for Halloween month. That way there's a intriguing potential different appearance in the way things look. Kill that. One thing I might say about AI, the Somnium Files, is that you have a pretty well animated screenshot here, but then some of the other 3D models seem like they might be a little bit off character. Maybe I'm wrong about that. No, they look fine. They all look similar. I don't think this is the live 2D. No, it definitely isn't the live 2D software. I really has me scratching my head as how did somebody have the budget or get the funding to make a game like this in 3D when almost certainly it would have been smarter to make it in 2D. It really feels like a Persona game without having any of the reason to exist, because you know Persona has a name behind it, whereas this really doesn't. Let's go ahead and hit this. And this. Win. So I want to look at Spike Chunsoft and see what else they've released on Steam. They just released the game Crystar, so they're competing against themselves. Like August 27th, Crystar came out for $59.99. Before that, in April, they released Zenkai Zero: The Last Beginning. Before that, they released Steins Gate Linear Bound Program, February 16th, 2019. So that's where they get the funding then. Clearly it's because they are the developer and publisher of Steins Gate. Yeah, they've got all of Steins Gate. They've got Fire Pro Wrestling. They've got Danganronpa. They've got the Zero Escape series. They've got Conception. And okay, now I get it. This is what Spike Chunsoft does. They make high quality, particularly passably a little bit expensive, very Japanese games. Opponent must pass their first 2 turns. It's not super useful as much as you would think, whereas minions having +1/+1 is better. 15 set to health and attack of all minions to 1, deal 1 damage to all minions. Yeah, this is a good forward clear. Of course, yeah, since budget has become this problem, finding an extra $60 to play a niche Japanese game becomes even more difficult.
You found me?
Choose a new minion, add it to your deck. I'm not sure I need to add anything to my deck, but I wouldn't be opposed to taking that. And I don't think I'd want to take this because that's just too random.
Quite the pickle.
Look at 4 spells, choose 1 to remove. Probably don't need that. Choose a friendly minion, add 3 new copies of that to your deck. Interesting. Always start with this in my hand, add 3 copies to my hand. Let's see. And then replace this card, maybe. So add 3 copies of that. That's not bad.
I respect that.
That's not a bad thought. Always start with this in my hand.
Good to see you're making friends.
And then choose a friendly minion and replace this one. Let's go ahead and take, I guess, this might actually be better than this. Although this has taunt, so I'm going to take that. Okay. And then, do I want to take this? Sure. Not too bad. I think that was a decent choice. Let's see. Canarium is free at the Epic Store until September 19th. seems like you get a free game every week, so there's probably been considerable games that I've not collected, but whatever. My Epic Store account is just backup games in case I lose my Steam account. But honestly, if I lost my Steam account, I think I'd probably just rage quit and never play video games again, or PC games again. So this is the only card I even want to change. Epic Games Store 19 hours ago tweeted, "The issue has been resolved with the latest launcher update. Thank you for your patience." What was the issue? I have to show the thread. The issue was 20 hours ago. We are aware of an issue while attempting to join a friend's Borderlands 3 session. The Epic Game Launcher can cause a crash. We're investigating and working on a fix. In the meantime, you can join your friends by accepting an invitation and joining their session in game. We'll provide an update when we have more information. So, yeah. So it doesn't seem like it doesn't seem like Epic Stores, again, just more evidence. Like I see it every game launch, more evidence of like bad releases going on. Okay, we can just kill this. So this ability is if there are 8 minions on the battlefield, destroy them all. So I can have 7 on my side, but I have to make sure his side is completely empty. Because if he has even 1, the massive tentacles will destroy everything. So will these attack? Yes. They will attack and they will take 5 damage while doing absolutely no damage to me. That's pretty hilarious. Alright. Meanwhile, we're good. Next we have a game on Steam called Celestial. This looks like an old Windows 95 game, but it says it's brand new. It's definitely not visually appealing. I didn't like the way games like this looked when they first came out in '95. This was $3.99 with no discount. Not even really trying. So, yep, that's not making it to the follow list. Gotta come over here and play. Alright. So we've got 7. We've got to get rid of everything on the field. And in all honesty, I think he could probably still clear the field if he had a little bit better intelligence, because this isn't a passive ability that triggers at the beginning of a turn. He can just play a minion and then click the ability. And since he just got a minion, Right, Divine Shield, Taunt.
This last act of sacrifice.
Gamer Sutra has an article here. Get a job. Hyperkinetic Studios is hiring a level designer in LA, California. What has Hyperkinetic worked on?
A grim destiny.
You know, one of the things I was thinking about is if you want to get into the IT field, it might not be a terrible idea to troll the forums of Stack Overflow which is people post IT questions and then people try to post the answers. And I don't mean actually troll the forums, but I mean actually get on there and post accurate and good answers so that you could get some form of recognition in the in the industry. I'm not even sure if Stack Overflow is the actual service you'd want to use for that. It's possible you'd do better on, I think there's one called Jira. But yeah, it is a thought. Maybe it's a dumb thought. And then here. So we've got 10 plus 2. Which puts me close enough. 10 plus 8. Just leaves me with 3 damage. And then he'll just use his ability and destroy everything. And then we're fine. And then I can just play this and win. I would say though, you would only want to do something like Stack Overflow if you half knew what you were talking about. So you would been through a couple years of IT classes and you were only entering things that were like the lowest of the lowest, really easy things, and you had nothing better to do. So if you were just sitting through a college class or a high school class and you probably would be egotistical to really do it, but it's better than being on Facebook all day if you're not doing anything else. And it's probably better than being on several other forums or Reddit, and it might play a role in something you could put on your resume at some point. On the other hand, if you're already employed in the IT field and you're trolling Stack Overflow and getting more credit, then you're probably getting paid to do nothing, and still that'd probably be better than being on Facebook.
It is time to save
Yeah,
the
unfortunately as a YouTuber I don't think I have that extra time. If I'm finding that extra time, it's because I'm not doing something else. There's always something I should be doing otherwise, whether it's just playing more games or scheduling videos. Right, what's his hero power? Summons a 1/4 servant with Taunt, Rush, Wind Fury, or Divine Spirit at random. Next we have a game on Steam called Zombie, and I'm not sure if this is an asset flip low effort game or if this is an attempt at just being a different art style, because this definitely looks weird. This is a very crazy, weird looking 3D models. But yeah, when I'm looking in the background at what I'm seeing as far as the buildings and the grass, it looks more like an asset flip game. I really don't see what the gameplay is on this, whether this is just a stealth avoidance game. It seems like it might just be that. Yeah. This requires VR. It's $7.99. It's English full audio allegedly. This feels a little too cheap for a VR game, frankly, and it looks a little bit too much like an asset flip game. Alright. Play this. Attack that.
Serve me.
I got a interesting bit of update here for Second Dinner, which is Ben Brode's company, a small indie company that allegedly has the Marvel license for a Marvel comic collectible card game. Ben Brode being the face behind Hearthstone. They are hiring, and now they are up to 13 people. So, a small team, to say the least. That might not really matter too much, though. They hired 2 more people, so they were at 11.
Lend me your power.
So, yeah. They're doing like a sketch here where they've hired 2 people. It'll still be a while for sure before Ben Brode actually has anything to say to the public or announce. Is there anything else to really say about it? No? Just, I was really surprised that they had so few people. Of course, as Activision Blizzard continuously seems to be losing people of skill and quality, I wouldn't be surprised if a large group of people left Activision Blizzard and joined Second Dinner at a later date. But also, I don't know how many people they really need. Like, that's another factor to consider, is that they may not really they may not really need more than 13 people to make a collectible card game until they start really ramping up, because if there are 13 people working on the core gameplay mechanic and the engine and all that, and then 6 months before release they hire a bunch of extra people to make art and write story and
It is not my time.
record audio, that wouldn't be super surprising. It is also very possible that Second Dinner either never makes the Marvel card game, or it's not in any way interesting. I find that hard to believe. I think any kind of Marvel card game has a high chance of success. There definitely have been some, like, Star Trek card games, though, that have failed. So, all those are considerations. This is just getting upgraded each turn until it's gonna do a ridiculous amount of damage. As long as it's just healing itself. Okay. This would discard my hand. I don't want to get rid of that. So let's do this. Gamma Sutra has an article. Rockstar Games now has its own game launcher on PC for no good reason. Really. It seems... My only guess is that they started development on their own launcher when the Epic Games launcher announced and the Bethesda game launcher announced. That's pretty much all I can get. I would say the vast majority of people are going to own GTA and all of the other Rockstar games that you want to own via Steam. So it would be very weird to move over to a new launcher. The only thing I could imagine that would even draw people over to the idea of using this launcher would be if they give away a PC version of Red Dead Redemption or Red Dead 1.
But a sheep will do.
But even if they did do that, it's Rockstar Games launcher doesn't really make sense. I don't even think they have a huge back catalog to rely on. So, yeah. My only thought there is they just have more money than sense. And we can kill this. Just kill that. Kill that. Because everything is -1 attack, he's got 4 minions on his field.
You belong to the
They can't do any damage. Game of Sutra has an article here. Football Manager 2020 studio swaps to recyclable packaging. Wants other studios to do the same. That'll be interesting to look at it, but I guess the idea is that to not use plastic things and instead let's see. It'll be in a reinforced. The game will be in a reinforced gatefold cardboard sleeve made entirely of recycled materials. All printed material will be done with vegetable and water-based ink, and the manual itself will be made with recycled paper, and the shrink wrap used can be recycled in some places as well. As a fan who has a lot of plastic DVD cases and Blu-ray cases, I would not be happy with something that looks and feels like cardboard. So I would be a very strict or unhappy customer, I guess, if that's what was offered to me as the packaging of the game. And if anything, you kind of know that the video game industry in particular is going the opposite direction with more limited edition physical prints. This whole story smells fishy to me because why wouldn't they just go full digital anyways? You could have a code for a digital game printed on recyclable paper, and that would just be it. And then you wouldn't need a disc in cardboard packaging at all. Instead, if my suspicion is that they ran into some kind of production issue of their packaging, and they're trying to sell it as being environmental. It might be that Football Manager 2020 in particular sells a lot in Europe, and in a lot of places in Europe the internet's not good enough to install the game. That might make sense. But yeah, I definitely don't want to see other developers embrace non-plastic packaging for cardboard packaging, unless the cardboard packaging looks really, really good. There's probably other options too, besides just plastic and cardboard. Inevitably, these kind of environmental actions are kind of just ridiculous. depictions of showing off. I forget what phrase I'm trying to use here.
Target is required.
This has a rush. Virtue signaling. That's the phrase I'm trying to think of. Yeah. A lot of these environmental things are virtue signaling. You don't really get to the main problem that the vast majority of all the pollution in the world is coming from like China and other third world countries. So unless we're willing to institute major tariffs or go to war with China, any actions you do only help so much. Yeah, so I don't think that there's really anything else to say about that. It's just the way things are. All minions lose divine shield.
Glory to the Sindora.
+1/+1. Do I have enough to win? Yes, I do. Good.
The sky beckons.
Next, we have a game on Steam called Showdown Bandit. It's rated positively. It's tagged as a horror stealth game. Seems to me, from the looks of it, like it's involves a puppet. From the creators of Bindi, which I'm not sure Bindi. I do recall Bindi. I'm not sure if it was well received. So yeah, it seems like you play as a puppet in a world of puppets. Marionette puppets. Interesting. Apparently it's similar to a game I just played called Echo, which I suspect is not true. Remember Plague Tale Innocence also came out, and Dark also came out, and Man of Medan also came out. There's plenty of games coming out, certainly. Yeah, I think this deserves to go on the fall list. I might want to read some reviews and just double check to see what this game actually is. It seems like it's alright, but it's a little dark in the screenshots. So, also this is episode 1 of a game, so it's episodic and it's not being as forthright as I'd like that to be. Okay. Next we have to pick between a tracking device. Draw this. Draw a 2, 3, 4, and 5 cost card from your deck. So first turn you play this, and then you are guaranteed a 2, a 3, a 4, and a 5. This is the one to play. I mean, I could get another Hearthstone and have 2 of them, but frankly, I don't think I need 2 Hearthstones. I'd rather this. Alright. So, what else can we do? Lifesteal Rush, Wind Fury. Restore 3 draw cards.
There, that's a Plague Lord, one of the sources of all this horror.
They don't really explain it, that you can play him again later on, but they kind of make a statement as we get in this that kind of explains it. But they don't say it directly when it really should.
Sir Finley versus the Plague Lord of Murlocs.
So he's gonna take 3 damage unless his hero power changes.
Insufferable. We're not the garden party.
We turn with the tides of the apocalypse.
So he's gonna take 3 damage, and he's immune otherwise until we're below 100 health. So this will be interesting. Yeah. After a Murloc dies, he takes 3 deaths, so we have to kill
Look at the
100
size of
Murlocs
that
first.
thing. How can we beat this?
Stay focused. It can't regenerate. Do what damage you can, and we will finish it off later.
The idea that it can't regenerate implies that every other character in the game, every other hero in the game does have a regeneration, which is weird. Moving on, TechRaptor has an article, Knights and Bikes is optioned for an animated series. So, a video game being optioned doesn't really mean anything, frankly. The bigger statement I would say here is Knights and Bikes came out a couple weeks ago, and I still have yet to hear anybody review it or say anything about it. Yeah, you can see it's got like 36 positive reviews, 35 positive reviews. It's from Double Fine. I have it on my wish list, but clearly it's at best a potential sleeper hit, at worst a total forgotten variable. Okay, so I'm just gonna hit this one first and then do this and then end the turn.
We are more than the
Oh,
sum of
darn it.
our scale.
I could have attacked just one more time. Oh well. We'll figure this out. Let's see. Kill that.
You cut through us, and we keep coming. No matter, there are many more of us.
Gametsu has an article here. The Medieval remake goes gold. It's due out October 25th. It'll be interesting to see reviews on this, because I really don't know anything about the original game Medieval. So, yeah, that'll be intriguing to say the
Who are we
least.
hitting today?
So this guy can now be buffed, and we can just kill our own minions. Gamma Sutra has a video here, crafting emergent tragedies in Kit Fox's The Shroud Isle. This is probably just an advertisement for a game called The Shroud Isle, which I don't remember.
We will feed
This is a new article, though, so maybe it's a new game coming out. Well, by the looks of the PowerPoint, it seems like the Shroud Isle is a yellow and black, almost Game Boy looking game at a higher resolution. So I'm not sure I want to look at that throughout the entirety of a game. Alright. Let's do this. We can kill that. We can kill that. We can kill that. Can kill that.
That one?
This. And play taunt. There we go. Gamma Sutra has an article here. A proposed EV revamp could turn Expo into a fan, media, and influencers festival. I'm gonna just say you could look at this article if you're interested in. It's from what I hear, basically just advertisers talking to advertisers. They're gonna try and make some spheres of influence or of advertisement around where lines would be. So while you're standing in line, you'd get more advertisement to it. And E3 has to do something, from what I hear. Like they can't just go home, considering they are run by the ESA, and the ESA makes too much money off of it. So that's really what it just boils down to, is that they've got to do something, and they're going to try some things. It totally makes sense that they would try to get influencers involved, and more fans involved at E3, particularly as you see more and more publishers and developers not really feeling the need to buy the booths and advertise their games at E3. Almost certainly, from the looks of it, one of the PAXs will survive at least 5 years longer than the last year E3 runs, just because it's fan-centric, and there will be just one would hope, group of people that enjoy what's going on at E3 and enjoy meeting up with their friends at E3. Can't really do anything else, so attack that. You're almost certain, I think, to do the first 100 damage. Unless you're just playing really, really bad. Yeah, I don't see a way you don't do at least the first 100 damage on this guy. TechRaptor has the same article. ESA pitches plan for E3 2020 includes industry-only day and experience floor plan. You almost wonder if this information was leaked out as a way to test the waters to see how people would receive such a large change to E3. I don't think too much is gonna change, though. Like I suspect this is a thought, and just a thought, and it'll quickly stop being a thought as reception for it is not as high as they had hoped, or excitement for it. As a YouTuber who kind of was covering the E3 streams, I guess at the moment I'm thinking I'm still going to do that next year, Content ID claims aside.
Answer for your crimes.
But I'm not super excited by it by any means. Alright, so as soon as we do one more damage, this guy will lose his immunity, and we can start taking him on. And we've got a decent collection of things to deal with. We've got 2 board clears. We've got another way to board clear. So our weakest would be this.
We did not need them. We have other more suitable champions.
So he's running out of cards, but not as fast as I am. So now he destroys a friendly Murloc to summon a scaly golem, which is a taunt creature, so we don't want that on the field. So let's hit that. And then
Justice shall prevail.
this, and this. Now we can start doing some major damage. Gamma Sutra has an article here. Valve launches revamped Steam library in open beta. Again, I tried it. I didn't like it. You can follow the instructions on the Steam blog if you're interested in that. He just destroyed everybody on the field. How do you do that? With Earthquake. Okay. Well, we will adjust accordingly to that. We'll get some more minions.
The tide marches on.
44 to 36. Okay. Let's see. We can play both of these. There's no real reason to stop us. We do this. And then should be able to do this, no problem, and kill everything. Does 12 damage to all minions. Ooh, I guess I didn't need to cast that other spell, did I? I could have summoned that instead. Alright, that was a bad move. TechCraft has an article. Magical Workshop game Little Big Workshop has been announced for PC. This looks like an advertisement, frankly, for an uninteresting looking game. Yeah, seems like it's just a factory simulator, one of those games. $19.99 if it looks interesting to you. It doesn't to me. Let's see. We're gonna be in a weird position here because I've accomplished nothing on the challenge, on the daily quest. I need to get those done. We need to basically break up for a third recording, and other problems I imagine will arise. I should have played this instead. TechCraft has this article, pet any dog in Fallout 4 using the best mod ever. So it's a mod called Pet Any Dog. I don't know how many people really would still be playing Fallout 4 at this point, however. But interesting mod, I suppose. Okay. Magnetic's not gonna do anything. So we can do this, this, and this.
Unity.
No problem.
Give that minion a moment to get ready.
Killed that one. I should have attacked with that one first. That was a mistake. Oh well. We're still doing good. 159. Now when he gets down to 100, he'll get a third hero ability. TechCraft has an article here. Call of Duty Modern Warfare dialogue options determines character's destiny. Let's see. Apparently the ESRB leaked this information. Some sequences prompt players to make choices that influence enemy behavior, using a pistol to threaten the suspect's family during an interrogation, timing actions to prevent terrorists from shooting hostages. Failure scenarios may occur. One sequence depicts player's character interrogated, tortured via waterboarding. If players select certain dialogue options, then the bound prisoner is seen executed. Okay. I think that description alone convinces me I probably don't ever want to play Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Alright, let's do 5 damage. could draw 3 cards. But then why would I want to? I'm good. I'm good just staying here. Gamer Sutra has an article here. Kojima details the subtly social gameplay of Death Stranding. At this point, I've checked out Death Stranding. If it comes to PC, I'd be fine with playing it, but I don't really want to see any more trailers or anything more about the game. I'm ready just to hear reviews of people who actually played the game, and that's it. Alright. So, kill this. And then, for safety's sake, let's get this down to just 101. Let's see that. And then that.
Flesh can be weak. We will crush yours.
So now he switches to a 15 mana Murnado. Every Murloc that dies reduces this cost by 1. So a bunch of Murlocs could die right now, and then a Murnado will shuffle all the minions back into his deck, giving him all of those things. That's not really what we want to do. By the way, I guess I can't ever play Deathwing if I want to play the Hearthstone, so I'm in a bad position there. Next we have a game on Steam called Aspects of Change, which seems to be probably a low effort game. Yeah. It seems to me like it is just a low effort asset flip game. $2.99 English, French, and Portuguese Brazil. That's not making it to the followers. So there goes the Murnado. He just stole all my cards. So, secrets. Let's see, eye for an eye. If this guy actually attacks me, eye for an eye might be the one to play. I don't think he's attacked me once yet, but he doesn't have to. Last time I lost this guy, I believe I lost by just running out of cards and fatiguing. Okay. More Murlocs. Whenever this attacks, summon 2 Murlocs from your deck. Is that something I need to do? I guess I need to just focus on the face here. If I can just get the damage down without him killing a bunch of Murlocs and doing Murnado, that'd be great. Doing 19 damage to all minions. It's not useful. There is one minion that will do damage to the hero instead of damage to itself. I think. Maybe not. Maybe there isn't a minion that works that way. I know there's a minion that works the other way. Just keep focusing. 77 damage. Next we have a game on Steam called Evil Robots. It's a low effort tower defense game. I don't think there's anything else we need to say here. MS Paint looking graphics. $1.19 discounted, English only, with 11 achievements that are numbers. So that's nothing. Eye for eye. 6 damage. He finally decided to attack. Is he gonna do Tornado? Interesting. No. So then let's do this. I'm not in a good position, so we'll play this. See, I don't know if I want to give them Death Rattle right now because it's just going to cause them all to be Tornadoed. $42 to 23 cards. No Tornado. Interesting. We'll see. This, and that. TechRaptor has an article. The Offspring is playing a concert in World of Tanks for some reason. I've maybe heard of the band The Offspring. Apparently World of Tanks is available for PC, PS4, Xbox 360, Xbox One, iOS, and Android. I did not know it was on so many different platforms. Well, that's a weird collab event, but collab events in gacha games, which I assume World of Tanks is a gacha game, is pretty common. So I'm not super surprised. Alright. Store 8. Draw 3 cards.
We are everywhere.
Divine Shield. And draw a card. We've got to play a little bit of control here. Can't have these guys killing me. There goes the Tornado.
We shall grind you to bits. More of us to grind your bones.
Alright, let's do this. This see, now we're getting down to the danger zone. This might work, this might not. Draw, discover 7 cards, gain 7 mana. Alright. So, let's play this. And this. And then this should give me 7 new mana crystals. So, that might be interesting, but that's not useful. I'll take a 0. That'll do something. Set of minions attack and health to 3. 50% a chance of attacking someone else. Lifesteal. Okay, so lifesteal. 50% chance. This. And this. Now, the danger here is, should I play Hearthstone and take the loss, or can I play here and be safe? Kill that, I guess. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We should be fine. At least for the next turn. Gamer Sutra has an article, Control Freak Inside the Narrative Design of Remedy's latest linear game. If you're interested in that. Like, I'm fully getting the feeling that I might have just been on the wrong side of history with Control. I'd really like to see like just regular players' experience with it, because I know I wasn't reading any of the text, and I think that's a big problem. I think that's part of my problem. Okay, let's see how this works. I've got several spells. He can do 3 damage next turn.
Witness the power of
41 cards to 7 cards. He really only would have to fatigue me a couple times. It's weird how this is so balanced that you potentially lose right at the end every time. Right. 4 damage, 4 health to my hero. If I do 4 damage to that. Let's see, 8, 10, 16 damage here. Alright. Play that. Yeah, kill that, and then kill that, and then everything else attacks the face. He can only do 6 damage, and he'd have to get past the shield. TechRaptor has an article here. Peaceful Sandbox Alchemy Garden is coming to Steam. Demo is now available. This doesn't look like any kind of game. Apparently it was originally on itch.io. I guess I could look at the trailer, but I doubt it's going to show me anything impressive. I think we've got it here. I don't think that there's... We could summon a random Murloc, which might have charge, but I wouldn't summon a Murloc because I don't have enough room. We could play this spell, which would have given me this, which is fine. So yeah, I don't see any reason why I would need to use the Hearthstone.
Justice
I think we've got it.
We protect our own.
Perfect cat!
The others will succeed.
So that's my first Plague Lord I actually killed. Much better to do it in one run, because it has been like 2 hours and 45 minutes just to do this whole run.
One Plague Lord is destroyed, others remain.
So we've unlocked, and this is the only thing we unlocked, is we summoned 51 health minions, so now we could use the Bubble Blower ability to discover a Shaman or Paladin minion with Battlecry and Overload with 1. We unlocked this 3 mana, 3 attack, 5 health beast that has Russian Reborn and has +2 attack for each other minion on the battlefield. We unlocked the deck Mighty Morphing. We dealt 5 damage, and so we now have the 3 mana, 5 attack, 1 durability weapon. After you overload, it gains +2 durability. That kind of makes sense if you're playing an overload deck, but not a lot of sense. We defeated 1 Plague Lord, so we have the 3 mana, 4 attack, 4 health minion with Charge and Wind Fury. At the end of your turn, deal 4 damage to a random enemy minion. That's a pretty good card. And he's at 0. So... So what happens now if we come back and do this again? We've got the crown. So I don't know if you just don't fight a Plague Lord now, or if you just fight the same Plague Lord with 300 health a second time. Yeah, I would bet you just fight him a second time, and there might even be a little bit of different dialogue. You'd still need to defeat 2 more Plague Lords to unlock this one and this one. But let's see, and I kind of have to move forward to see the other things that unlocked. Still would have to overload 50 mana crystals to unlock that. And you'd still have to beat 8 more bosses, so a whole second run to unlock this, and 24 bosses. Of course, this is over different chapters, so yeah. And I wouldn't even be able to see what the 8th boss is until a long time from now. A really, really long time. Well, speaking of a long time, I done screwed up. Let's end this recording here and start another recording, and we may not make it to the Asian accounts. We've got 3 things that overlap somewhat here, so quick victories, at least to get 1 daily quest done, if not 2. If I don't get 2 victories, then that would be fine. Anyways, that's it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below in the description box. And if you want to support me even further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening. Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and we're back to another recording of Hearthstone. Today is Wednesday, September 18th, and I screwed up in the last recording and played a solo adventure because the new solo adventure was out, and it did not accomplish anything. Nothing I did counted towards this. So we're still on the European account. I need to play 6 minions that cost 2 or less and win with a druid or rogue character. And that'll get at least 2 things done. So let's try custom rogue on casual and see if we can quickly get that victory and move on. We still got plenty of news, but I do need to jump over to the Asian account and get those daily quests done also. And as always, it's my desire to shorten these streams, not lengthen them, so adding another like 2 hours and 45 minutes of footage is not something I really wanted to do. But I also didn't want to tease people and start a run and not finish it, or at least try to go as far as I could. We have a game here on Steam called Hardland, which visually does not look too bad, so I'm a little confused as to why it's only mixed on reviews. I suspect it's probably because it's a MMO that just has no chance of actually succeeding. It's $24.99, English only. It says it's single player. Let's look at some of these negative reviews. We have a negative review here that says the game has no real RPG elements and only only be condensed by the most generous game inclusive people to have any light RPG elements. Is maintained and mislabeled and mismanaged. If you are a non-RPG, you may... Man, this is terribly written. That is a terribly written review. Let's try a different one. Well, the game world has just oodles of visual personality and charm. The gameplay and player character does not. The actual experience just feels bland and uninteresting. Interacting with characters is largely boring. There never feels like there's anything to do, and the world itself lacks any feeling of being alive. Okay, so seems like Hardland is just not a very well written, well designed game as far as its characters.
So many options.
Let's see. Deal 2 damage. Choose a minion, shuffle 3 copies into your deck, upgrades each turn. Let's see.
I hope you like my invention.
See, next we have a game on Steam called Muscles and Bullets, which probably is a low effort asset flip game. Yeah, it really looks like it's a Worms World Party clone if you were going to have a lot of blood in it. Early access, $11.99. Yeah, there's nothing here that looks interesting to me. French, German, Chinese, and Russian, plus some other languages. So, yeah, nothing there. Right. Choose a minion, shuffle 4 copies into your deck. Deal 2 damage, draw a card. Deal 2 damage, draw a card. Actually, I can do that, so we'll just do that. And do that.
Oh, if you're sure.
Getting increased spell damage would be helpful, but I don't know how helpful this is going to be in the long run. Copy of each of your battle cry cards to your deck. I have no idea what's in my deck, so I don't know what strategy I'm playing. TechRaptor has an article. Curate rare artifacts in Mondo Museum coming to Steam in 2020. This looks like a museum simulator. Probably not that interesting, frankly. Yeah. Like, at the very least, I would say Hospital Simulator and Mondo Museum have a chance of being slightly interesting. Things, but not that interesting. So, what am I clicking on?
Options.
Trying to figure out. that link. There we go. Yeah. It's a link to a video here I'm trying to look at called Lucifer Within Us that I heard mentioned earlier. Give a friendly minion. Draw the lowest card minion from your deck. Ooh. This is clearly what I should do. In the turn, there we go. Yeah, so this game, Lucifer Within Us, looks like it might be interesting, but not sure.
Come dance to my song.
It looks a little strange, to say the least.
Is someone injured? Okay. So I'm gonna do this, and then put 6 copies of this in the field. And then I'm going to play this. Or just give that poison. Guess that works too. This would make it cost 1 less. Or whatever. We don't talk about CNBC articles too often, but apparently gaming industry veterans raised $17 million to launch Vayne, V-E-N-N, a esports network. Who are these veterans, though? Well, you show a picture of 2 guys, and you don't give me the names of the 2 guys under the picture. It'll broadcast, this Vayne channel will broadcast on Twitch and YouTube, also on things like YouTube TV, Sling, and Pluto TV. It is founded by Ariel Horn and Ben Cousins.
Quickly.
I don't know either of those names, though. Horn built and drove much of the esports production at Riot Games and Blizzard Entertainment, while Cousin was previously at Vivendi Games, which merged with Activision. So these are 2 Activision Blizzard's former employees trying to make an esports channel. I guess good luck on them, honestly. In a lot of ways, it feels like they're just kind of making a.
Come dance to my song.
They're kind of just making a. Oh, what would you call it? A YouTube channel. That's pretty much it. Not really anything more important or bigger than that.
Hand is too full.
So yeah, we'll see. I just watched a video a couple days ago about the rise and fall of G4 and Tech TV and such, and yeah, it is so laughable, the idea that somebody would try to do something even somewhat similar to that. Esports may be big, but I don't think there's enough room for a entire, like, even primetime lineup of 3 or 4 hours in a weekday.
I got the best deals anywhere.
Consistently, at least. So I now see why I have this card. It's so I can get copies of this card back.
Someone injured?
Okay, battle cry, give someone poisonous. Probably not a bad idea.
Time for an experiment.
Let's
Hit.
dance.
Hit that. You go ahead and kill that. Return that to the hand. Play that. Taunt.
Access denied.
And then in the turn. Next we have a game on Steam called Rebel Cops. This is, I believe, the sequel to whatever. This is the Police, which is on my wish list. Honestly, This is the Police 2 is on my wish list. I'm not even sure it should be on my wish list, frankly. It might be. We're gonna have to wait a while, I think, until I do a wish list cleanup. But yeah, the strategy gameplay mechanics here don't. Well, the theme irritates me, I think, more than anything. But you know, I'll put it on the follow list. I'll see. I'll give it some more consideration. But I almost certainly would have to get This is the Police and This is the Police 2 first. And try those games out before I play Rebel Cops. I do see the beginning of the end as far as games to cover. Alright. Let's hit this. And draw this.
Double
Do
compound
this.
Verano extra starware, High Mountain Ice, room for mana spice coming right up.
And then this. Next we have a game on Steam called Devil's Hunt. Unfortunately, this game is reviewed poorly. This was a game that TechRaptor, I believe, gave a 2.0. I'll leave it, I guess, on the follow list, but I think by the time I reevaluate this game, it is gonna just fail terribly. I don't know if this is because it's a publisher who's lesser known that couldn't fund the game to completion or what, because it does look like this might have been a good game. It was trying to be developed as a like AAA game. Looking at the publisher, yeah, there's a collection here of some games that might be interesting, but nothing amazing. It probably is a great example of not getting in bed with a publisher that can't really do or can't really fund the game. And yeah, there's a lot of games this publisher has put out, and none of them are standout breakout hits. And Devil's Hunt could have been a breakout hit, but it isn't.
No good. Me too.
Ooh, you silenced my guy. Now I've got no idea what to do.
Your wish is my suggestion.
Yeah, I've just lost. Thanks, game. I had a pretty great strategy there, and it still didn't work. Maybe if I understood the strategy better, it would have.
Unity, precision, perfection. Primitive.
I can't kill this in time, or I'll lose. All I can really do is that. And then can't really do anything. That's all I can do. So cast a spell, use our hero ability in the turn, and lose. TechRaptor has an article here. Final Fantasy XIV Tokyo Game Show highlights. Blue Mage 2B New Game Plus and more. So several things are coming out for 14. Still not sure if 14... Yeah, I think 14 is the online Final Fantasy. 15 is the latest single player Final Fantasy. I'm fairly certain that's the case. Alright. Well, we got one daily quest done. And since I can see the end of the tunnel right now, I'll probably have to play off screen to get this victory. Let's just move over to the Asian account and see what we have to do with that. TechRaptor has this article, Gears 5 Horde Guide, Getting to Wave 50, Good Teammates Not Included, if that's something you need or are interested in reading. Let's see. TechRaptor has an article here, Warframe review bombing coming from Chinese players. Why are they review bombing? A Warframe review bomb is underway and it appears to be coming from irate Chinese player. This is that much is evident from the casual examination of the game's recent Steam reviews. What isn't so obvious is exactly why so many people, or what exactly has so many people upset at the game. Several potential reasons have been presented, including the Hong Kong-China divide, bad translations, and server issues. Some reviews address one or more of these topics, so it's clearly something that appears to have upset Chinese players. First up is complaints about quality of the Chinese translations. They designated Hong Kong and China as separate countries, which China definitely is not happy about that. Alright, so this I'd have to win 5 games in any mode. So I have to re-roll this one. So Paladin or Warrior, play 10 demons, win 5 games any mode. And any mode includes single player, so I could probably win 5 games if I was to go through the single player experience, but I definitely am not going to do that on screen. So instead I'm going to go casual. No, I'm going to go... Yeah, I'm going to go casual, Paladin. I really would like to go ranked, but that's it. The last possible complaint is just the server issues. So yeah, okay. That might be why Warframe is being review bombed. Who knows? Incidentally, I think it is only fair and accurate to report that there have been considerably more review bombs coming from China than any other country that have been reported on. So, if there's really only one culprit doing this in any mass numbers, and it's China, I think Valve would be fair to solve this problem by just saying, get out China players, or China players can't review, or something like that, because and inherently this is the accusation against Chinese people in general, is that they're always socially rude compared to any other society. That's the stereotype, at least, and then also they're run by a fascist government, so the government may be paying people or suggesting heavily to people that they review bomb the game. And while we do have terrible Portuguese Brazil games that come out on Steam and terrible Russian troll games that come out on Steam, none of those countries actively in any significant amounts review bomb. And I don't even think the review bomb is really affecting anything, so it's an ineffective tactic, to say the least.
Access denied.
On the other hand, free speech and all, like, if this is how people want to spend their free speech and they want to review a game negatively, I don't see any reason to really stop them too much. If that's what Valve wants Steam to be, although Valve can't really have it both ways. If they want to be a free speech platform, then they should be letting all the games that they're censoring, all the sex games on their platform. If they don't want it to be a free speech platform and they want it to be a curated storefront, then they should just say that. But yeah, it's a big problem. It's a problem they're struggling with, and they're going to have to think up smarter solutions sooner than later. Moving on, TechRaptor has an article. Season catches air with a skateboarding sim that raises the bar. I guess that's session, not season. Yeah, session. Misread that. Okay, do they have a review score for a session? No.
Let me think.
Is it out on Steam yet? No, it's early access. $19.99. Mostly positive. Alright, I'll put session on the follow list. Seems like it might be... We might be entering a new age of what am I trying to say? Skateboarding games. That would be very interesting, to say the least. If skateboarding games came back into vogue.
Charge forward!
TechRaptor has this article. Skills 2.0 update brings the loader back to Risk of Rain 2. I don't know what the loader is in Risk of Rain 2. But if you're still playing that game, okay, probably like this update. I kind of wonder if... Has it really been 6 months since Risk of Rain 2 came out? It may have been. I'm just guessing that. But to be at 2.0 less than 6 months in would be strange also. TechRaptor has an article. Devolver announces 2 new Apple Arcade exclusive titles. One is called Bleak Sword. I swear I played a mobile game that looked a lot like this. Yeah, relatively similar to this game. Actually, no. This looks better than the mobile game I played. Interesting. Almost looks like a Virtual Boy game. The other is Cricket Through the Ages, which I suspect, since it's from Devolver Digital, has nothing to do with cricket and has a lot more to do with just being silly. The question I suppose gamers should ask in particular is it going to turn into a scenario where Apple Arcade is the place where people shove their bad, low-effort joke games onto the storefront to make a few bucks? Or is it going to be a place that starts to have some major quality? And what does quality really mean to Apple Arcade? Does it have to be a AAA console PC style game, or does it just have to be better than your average game on iOS or Android? Let's see. Let's see. Next we have a game on Steam called Football Drama, which looks like it's barely has anything to do with actual soccer or football and is instead an interactive fiction game of some sort. Looks like a cell phone game that's been converted. This looks weird enough that it might have something interesting in it though, so I'll give it a follow. $10.19 discounted. Bunch of language support. We'll see if people latch on to this as a potential sleeper hit.
For justice.
Gamatsu has an article for the PC, PS4, Switch, and Xbox One, trying for the Nightmare Prince story trailer. I'm really surprised they're still making a Trine game, but I guess they kind of have to. They have to make you forget that Trine 3 ever existed as best as they can, and I don't think the developers of the Trine series has enough money to not release something that's successful, so they're probably struggling for their life. Alright, that's one victory. 2 more to go. Gamatsu has for the Switch, Pokemon Sword and Shield details a new Pokemon called Surfetch'd, which I assume is an evolution of Farfetch'd. So, okay. That's a new Pokemon. Not really that important to me. I do have this suspicion that now that they have given Ash Ketchum in the anime his victory, an actual victory, I have the suspicion that they will try to relegate him down to just movies, and they will try to introduce a new character, perhaps one of the characters from the Pokemon Masters series. They have cycled out everybody else, so
Greetings, traveler.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's what they're trying to do. The animation quality severely dropped in the latest season, it seems, of Pokemon also, so perhaps they don't want to pay to animate Ash Ketchum. Maybe they want to change the animation style to a more modern animation style. It apparently has been 22 years since Pokemon has started, so a full reboot, a full reset, a more relatable character would make sense. They could just do a time jump to solve that problem too. They could just say 10 years later, 15 years later, 20 years later, Ash Ketchum could be the father or the new Professor Oak, and all the worlds could be evolved and improved severely with their technologies. It would open a lot of doors to get away from just telling the same stories over and over again. Anyways, moving on, we have Gamatsu for the PC and PS4 Tamarin Adventure trailer. I don't know what Tamarin is. Seems like you're playing as a kind of red fox with bugs. This might be an interesting game. I want to be careful about showing too much of these trailers though. Yeah, that looks interesting. Was this for the PC? Third-person action game due out Q4 2019. And almost certainly Tamarin will come out to very little fanfare. So I imagine that might be a bit of a sleeper success or sleeper hit. Well, I can't go one stream without talking about the lewd games at least a little bit, so let's cover this one story, I guess. TechRaptor has an article. They have a sponsorship deal with Nutaku. Nutaku unleashes tantalizing fairy tales with Otogi Frontier. So, Little Red Riding Hood, Not So Little, Cinderella, I assume. And it looks like it's an RPG game. Doesn't look terrible, frankly. Particularly for Nutaku's fare, which often are really, really terrible games. does this work on mobile games or is it just PC?
I wonder.
You play it free on their website. Yeah, I wonder. I'd have to think about it whether Nutaku is gone with any mobile games. On the other hand, what I'm asking for is probably crazy. You shouldn't be playing lewd adult games on your cell phone, potentially in public with people looking over your shoulder.
Ooh, I wonder what this
On the other hand, I am playing Destiny Child, and it is a pretty lewd adult game that I can't really play it in public too, so yeah. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I guess it depends on where you most use your cell phone. Alright. This.
Reporting for duty.
And I'm gonna kill this. And then return. Gamatsu has an article for PS4, and apparently there's an anime. I didn't know that was a tag. Kendagawa Jet Girls has an anime preview and game information live stream set for September 25th. I don't know what Kendagawa is. It looks like some kind of like water racing jet ski thing. Maybe that's maybe it.
Converting stored energy.
This.
Reporting for duty.
Play a little conservatively. I'm jumping through this trailer. It's definitely an anime trailer with a bunch of anime girls with a lot of cleavage showing and big busts, and they are involved in some kind of form of like jet ski racing competition. Although one of the girls, who's obviously a bad girl, is shooting at them at the same same thing. It's tandem jet ski riding, which is unique to say the least. So there's two people on the jet ski instead of just one. There we go. Another victory for me. Goodness. It's a little weird, to say the least, to have a game come out and be announced at the exact same time as an anime. So unless there's a manga here that hasn't come over to the West or I haven't heard about, which there's a good chance that's the case, it seems like the publishing company is going very heavy on that series, and there's a very high chance it doesn't succeed. Nobody's interested. Sports anime in general come and go rather quickly. Moving on, Gamasutra has an article. Get a job. Hyperkinetic Studios is hiring a level designer in LA. We may have talked about this one already in this stream, but whatever. Let's see. Next, TechRaptor has an article. Gwent Iron Judgment expansion is coming to PC and consoles in October. So Gwent is getting another expansion, which I guess, yay. You can also play Gwent Iron Judgment on the Xbox One and iOS. Apparently it never came to Android.
Move quickly.
That would have been a problem, certainly, if I had chosen to try to play Gwent. The fact that there wouldn't have been an Android client, because I don't have any iOS devices, might have been a bit of a problem. That being said, I very rarely actually play Hearthstone on any Android device I have. Only if my computer is broken or doing something else that it cannot be disturbed by the, which really there isn't too many opportunities in which that happens.
Reporting for duty.
There is something certainly to be said about the fact that my computer setup and my workflow setup is efficient enough that I don't have to render. Unlike so many other YouTubers, I don't have a legitimate complaint to say my computer is rendering non-stop for hours and hours to have even like a 30-minute video. No, that doesn't happen, and I'm glad for that. But also, that does affect the quality. That there really is almost no editing that happens in any of the footage I ever make, which I could edit it if I had an editor and had the time, but I just don't think it's worth it. Moving on, TechRaptor has an article. Spike Chunsoft announces Kata Namkami? Kata
No tune can hold me.
Nakami spin-off of The Way of the Samurai. Okay. I don't know what Way of the Samurai is though. I want to show the Spike Chunsoft video trailer. And the trailer doesn't really show much of anything. Looks like it's going to be a top-down action game fighting a bunch of very large bosses. Okay. The article says that Way of the Samurai was praised for simulation aspects and storytelling, but technical problems held it back considerably. However, re-releasing the game on PC seems to have smoothed out some of the performance issues. Let's do this.
Move quickly.
Magnetic run. Let's do this. In the turn, I guess. Next, we have a game on Steam called Super Minesweeper Attack, which clearly is a low-effort clone of Minesweeper, and there's really nothing else here that impresses me at all. 74 cents discounted, English only. We still are getting garbage games. Not in large numbers though. Not terrible large numbers. TechRaptor has an article here. Mini Motorways launches September 19th for Apple Arcade, PC to follow. This seems like it's a strategy motorway game where you make the roads. Basically a puzzle game. Sounds slightly interesting. So when it comes to PC, I'll put it on the follow list. Let's see. And that.
Reporting for duty.
Yep, it's a strategy game. That's all Mini Motorways is. Of course, there's a game called Mini Metro already on Steam, as YouTube was so helpful to remind me. So, Mini Motorways probably not too different from that game.
This place is
if you can bear Reset Era, they have announced GiftBot 2.0, a giveaway tool. Apparently GiftBot 1.0 was probably from what is NeoGAF, I believe, is the forum that Reset Era broke away from. So this is frankly and oddly like the first thing I've ever seen Reset Era officially tweet on their Twitter about, and it's a feature that they've added at least 8 months after they've established themselves, and they really have barely done anything else. On the other hand, if you do use Reset Era, you're probably somewhat psyched about that now that it would have this Reddit ability to do giveaways. What I'm fairly certain it is not, though, is it is not Reset Era's managers and supporters announcing that they're giving away anything. It's just saying you as an end user can do giveaways if you want to, and we'll have no liability for it, I'm sure. Gamer Sutra has an article, 1 decade in League of Legends, 1 decade in, League of Legends still averages 8 million peak concurrent players daily. So yeah, there's still a lot of people playing League of Legends. Surprising, I think, not to a lot of people, frankly. I think most people know that's still the case. Yeah, and I'm just gonna wrap up the last bits of news, and then I think we'll probably just end the stream there. Next we have a game on Steam called Offside, which seems like it's an attempt at like an infinite runner with also some other gameplay elements. It feels like it's kind of all over the place though, and the graphics don't feel polished. Like, this is a weird looking green haired, green eyebrowed, green vested girl, I think. Can't even really tell. And the animation on the other characters doesn't seem particularly great either. Seems like it's a infinite runner where you're maybe also dribbling a soccer ball. This is free to play, English and French. Full audio, it says. 33 achievements. Well, it doesn't seem like there's any in-app purchases, so if you want to try Offside, it's there.
Let me
I think most people probably don't need to.
I must move quickly.
Let's do this.
For justice.
Last warning.
Done.
Next game we have on Steam is called Jigsaw Puzzle Evolution. A jigsaw puzzle game that seems to be trying to do something slightly different. It seems like maybe 3 puzzles go at the same time, or I don't know what. Like, seems like they're actually trying to be educational. Unfortunately, you're still doing jigsaw puzzles. Like, and these are pretty simplistic jigsaw puzzles. It's like an educational game. $2.69 discounted in a bunch of languages, 3 achievements. This might actually be an effort at being an educational game. But how many puzzles does it have? Doesn't really say. Yeah, I don't think I'd get a digital version of something like that though, because if you were going to just have a educational game, then why not do it in the real world? Why not just have a real world educational puzzle instead of a virtual world. Particularly since these puzzles are so small. Particularly if you're trying to target very young kids. So even though I wouldn't really call this a super low effort jigsaw puzzle game, I don't think it really justifies buying this unless you're buying games on Steam for your little kids. And even then, buy the Lego games. Don't spend what would often you can get a Lego game for $5, so spending $2.70 for this does not compare in any way. And the only other game this developer has made is something else that came out in 2018 and got only 7 user reviews, called QIPA World Hello Big Adventure. And honestly, this doesn't look like a terrible game. So, what happened? Well, apparently it didn't play well. So you've got 3 negative reviews there. Okay, so this developer doesn't really have a good name behind its brand. I don't think I'm gonna even bother to play another game here. Let's just wrap this up, and then off screen I'm going to have to try and get one more victory as Paladin or Warrior minimum, and probably play 10 demons, or just see if I can get more victories some other way. Next, we have a game on Steam called Rally Drift Cars. It's probably just a low effort racing game. It doesn't look terrible, but then the depiction there is terrible, and there was a tree in the middle of the ground on the racetrack. That's ridiculous. So this is $1.99 and English for full audio. Nope, that's not making it. Let's see. Gamma Sutra has an article here. Twitch has acquired IGDB to bolster search and discoverability capabilities. I have never heard of IGDB. I assume DB stands for database. So it was known as the Internet Games Database. Okay, I may have heard of that. The acquisition will see IGDB's database fed directly into Twitch's search and discovery feature set, although the IGDB website will continue to operate separately. I don't know how much that really is going to improve Twitch, though. It's mostly going to be old and niche games that nobody would ever stream, so having that information in your database will just slow down searches in your database for no good reason. TechRaptor has an article, Borderlands 3 review, The King is Dead, Long Live the King. Let's scroll down to the bottom and see how they review Borderlands. I'm guessing 7 out of 10. No. Oh, interesting. They gave it a 9.0. Amazing. Borderlands 3 improves upon the Borderlands formula in every way, shows what a looter shooter is capable on when the basic requirements like a coherent story and cool cool loot are not fulfilled but exceeded. Pros, the loot is never boring, the interesting boss fights, diverse enemy design, deep skill tree, unbelievable long main quest. Cons, it's mildly repetitive, humor is not for everyone, more than one backtracking quest, writing is hit or miss, and alleged technical issues on all platforms. Yeah, I'd be interested in knowing what they played as, at what hero class, because I think that's affecting a lot of people's experience too. Let's see if we can figure out and scroll through here. Scrolling up. Yeah, I can't see what class they played as, but I would be interested in that. Like, do the research in Borderlands 3. Make sure you're playing a class you want to play as, otherwise you are going to have a bad time. At least from what I'm hearing. Gematsu has an article: Flying Girl Striker for Switch launches September 25th. This looks like a low effort game coming to the eShop. It's currently available for iOS and Google Play, so it's a mobile game too. Interesting. Switch probably should curate their eShop a little bit and not have terrible mobile games on their platform, and limit themselves to just terrible PC games. But whatever. TechRaptor has an article: Anthem's new game content is switching to seasonal models. Speculation is they are pretty much done with Anthem, and it is very much speculated that Anthem won't even release all the things it gave names to and said it was going to release, and that they're potentially just going to wear down a lawsuit if somebody sues them for false advertising. They're just going to settle is the speculation that I've heard, because they're just so done with Anthem and the player base is so low. TechRaptor has an article: Dead or Alive 6 adds Ninja Girl's Momiji as a new character. Yeah. Okay. I guess Dead or Alive 6 is one of the fighting games that's still in contention. All the major fighting games, though, do have a tendency to be very heavy on DLC, and expensive DLC at that, right? Alright, so since I'm skipping games, that is going to leave us with just the Humble Bundle. So I'm going to look and see if there's any new Humble Bundle to deal with. There's a Builder Games Bundle, When Ski Lifts Go Wrong, Tricky Towers, Concrete Jungle, Portal Knights, Bridge Constructor Portal, and if you pay $10 or more, you can get Staxel. None of those games are particularly interesting to me. And yeah, 5 days left on the RPG game bundle, on Humble Bundle, and that's it. Then if I go back to Twitter, I doubt there will be any new news worth mentioning. Maybe just some games. I have noticed that Susan Wojcicki has been retweeting famous YouTubers a little bit more these days, for better or for worse. I imagine YouTube probably won't make too many annoying announcements between now and the end of the year. Let's see. Is there any news worth mentioning? Mojang is holding a vote on which Minecraft biome to update next. Interesting. We'll talk about that more on Friday. Debtor School has been rated in Australia. I'm surprised they actually got a rating and didn't get banned. I'm surprised that game is actually coming to consoles. Borderlands 3 retweets some good reviews. 9 out of 10 from Shack News, IGN, and Destructoid, if you care about any of those review sites. Of course they're going to retweet the ones that are the best ratings. The Siberia trilogy is coming to Switch October 31st. Interesting. I'm just opening more and more tabs for Friday. I think that's it for new news. Yeah, I don't think I am seeing more things, but I don't think that there's any big event. I don't know why I always think there will be a big event, but sometimes a big event does happen in the world, video game wise at least. If I was just reporting all big events, then it would be like CNN, breaking news all the time, even if there isn't actually any breaking news. Four hours ago. Have I really been streaming for 4 hours? Apparently so. Alright, well, that's it. Yeah, there's nothing else that needs to be talked about. So, yeah, that's going to be it for this stream. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want to friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below in the description box. And if you want to support me even further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.